What is up, YouTube? This is DBZ439 coming at you with my top 24 Dinomist deck profile that I just did in my Fort Worth regionals. I went X2 out of 9 rounds, so that was pretty impressive. Briefly, I just want to talk about my matchups. So my first matchup I played is Sky Strikers, and unfortunately I lost to him, and the only reason was because he opened every single can chat that could combat my deck, such as Ghost Ogre, which hurts me the most, Ash, he evenly matched me, Twin Twisted me, and all these other things. It was just really hard, and he won in time in the third duel, so I was really upset because, of course, first round I lose, and it's not a good start, but, I started to pick it up, and only afterwards I was able to only lose one round. So that was my first matchup. And the second, I played Odd Eyes. It was really easy. Third, it was ABCs. I did a really nasty combo on him game 1, and I'll explain that later on in the deck profile. The fourth round, unfortunately, I lost to Thunder Dragon. He was a really good duelist, and he knew how to play around my stuff. I gave him a good fight, but he was really respectful, and I just couldn't pull out. So, yeah, then I won the rest of my way out. Number 5, I played Dino Thunders. Number 6, I won Orchist. That was really easy. And all these matchups that I won were just, it wasn't too hard for me. I was able to defeat them with ease. And in my 7th round, I played Inspector Border Traps. And then I played Altergeist. And I won using Cowboy, which was amazing. And then my final round, I played Cyber Dragons. And Cyber Dragons is my worst matchup because all my monsters are machines, so they can just suck it up and make Chimeritic Fortress Dragon. But I was able to play around it, and so that was it. I played every round and played something different, which was really nice. I liked to see how the meta was different. Everyone was just bringing different things and ideas, and I appreciate that. And so without any further ado, let me bring y'all my Dinomist deck profile. I made some changes everywhere. It's not like the same deck profile as before, and hopefully you guys like it, so let's get into it. Starting off with the main deck, I explained this so many times, but I will mention a couple of new things. Okay, first of all, no one knew how Dinomist played, so they didn't take the time to read it. And the scales effects for the 6s are amazing because they say that if you target any Dinomist card, you can use the scale to negate it. And I got Twin Twisted so many times throughout the regionals, and they're like, okay, I target this. I was like, okay, negate with Rex, or negate with any scale 6. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, read the card. And they're like, okay, yeah. So, and then if I had charge, I'd just get it back and not lose. And things like Widow Anchor and all that stuff, it didn't really affect me. That's why Dinomist in particular is really good, because of their scale effects. And no one reads and no one knows what they do, so they don't know how to combat the situation. But me personally, I know how my deck works. I know how every matchup works, and I know how to use my deck to beat every matchup. And that's key in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have to know your matchups and how to cater your way towards beating your opponent. And Rex is really good against Thunder Dragons because you're able to shuffle away cards like Colossus and Titan without destroying them. And so that's really big. And yeah, Rex put in a lot of work this weekend, so yeah. And then next we play the Triple Ceratops. It's one of your turbo cards. And there's nothing much to it. Next I played the Triple Brachion. If your opponent controls the highest attacking monster, you don't control this card on your side of the field, you can special summon for free. And a ruling a lot of people have been asking me is if your opponent controls a monster that has 0 attack and you have no monsters, are you able to special summon it? The answer is yes, you can special summon it because that monster still has an attack, therefore it has the highest attack. And since it was the only monster on their side of the field and I don't have any monsters, you're able to special summon for free. So take that into consideration. Also, I wanted to bring back to my attention to this card right here because there's been a lot of times when people were Twin Twistering me or Heavy Storm Duster my face down Dinomist Howling. Now, when they do that, I flip Howling. I was able to set my scales, and according to the head judge, he said that once I place my scales, especially scale 3, I can use the scale 3 to send it instead to protect my other Dinomist card. So that's really key. So you plus and you save your stuff, and yeah. So next we play the Triple Terran. This card also put in work. I destroyed a lot of monsters by battle using its effect and able to search, especially against Ultra because they're so weak. And yeah, able to search Dinomist Charge or Howling is really, really good. And then Triple Plesios. Now, this card's really funny because, like I said, people don't read. They just want to get the duel over with. They underestimate my deck. And they don't read the effect that he modulates the attack and defense of your opponent's monsters. So, he attacked one of my monsters, and I was like, okay, you lose 200 life points. He's like, why? I'm like, oh, your monster loses attack because I have 5 or 6 Dynamists or however many cards I have on field. And he's like, oh, how? I'm like, read this card's effect. And so, yeah, it's their fault for not reading it. And it comes in handy, especially if you have multiple on field. It can stack up and make your opponent's monsters really weak and really hard for them to get over your own monsters. So that's it for the Dynamists. It's the same ratios as I've played before. I don't play any other Dynamists. I think that they're not as good. And so for my turbo cards, I run the triple Abyss Current Razor. Also, keep in mind that when it's the only monster inside the field, it has 2200 attack. And it's a rank 4 high scale, so you're able to pendulum summon everything and make your XYZ plays. Next, I run the triple Passing Glider. Main reason why I like this card is because going to game 2 and 3, it's super easy to side out, especially when you're going second. So that's 3 free cards right there. It's a scale 3, it's a level 5, it's a machine, it has a lot of synergy with the deck, and yeah. And one funny story with this card, when I was playing the Inspector Border guy, I had a Gozen match face down. Reason why I had a Gozen match was because he played cards like Scapegoat and all these things, and I was like, okay, those are getting annoying. So I played Gozen match with this and Tornado Dragon, and I just kept attacking him because, they're both wind, and I just kept destroying his back row, and yeah, that was just interesting. Now my favorite card in my main deck, and that is Magical Abductor. Now, check this out, guys. Reason why it's my favorite card is because, for multiple reasons. One, when it's in scale, for every spell counter, you or your opponent play gains a counter, and once per turn you can remove 3 counters to search any pendulum card, which is insane. So low scale, so you're able to pendulum summon your stuff. It's level 4, so you can XYZ to your level 4s or rank 4s, and then its last effect. So check this out. All right. So every counter anytime a spell card is activated, it gains a counter. For each counter, it gains 100 attack. Now, if it has 3 counters, you can remove 3 counters from it to search a level 1 spellcaster card, and we'll get into that later. But that's really awesome. I really like this card. You plus off of it. I always send it off with Electromite because of the fact that you can plus, and it's really good against the Sky Striker matchup. So yeah. And next, finally, for the pendulums, I run the 1 Rescue Hamster. Rescue Hamster is a double-edged sword. Reason being is because when you go first, you don't want to stay in your opening hand because it's really hard to make You want to make Electromite as soon as possible. And, the thing is, you can make Electromite, and then, so basically you set your scales, you pendulum summon 2 monsters, go into Electromite, and then you send the Rescue Hamster, you pop a scale to add this card back, and since you have a normal summon, you can normal summon, target one of the cards you use for the Link Summon Electromite to, summon whatever you need. So that's a cool combo tip that you can use with Rescue Hamster. And that is it for the pendulums, and now for the hand traps. The new addition to my deck, Drone Lockbird. I kid you not, almost every duel I opened this card. It is insane. It put in a lot of work in the regionals, and it was a great meta call. And since it was regionals, I expected to see a lot of rogues, and just a lot of decks now these days just add a lot of stuff. And so back to the Magical Abductor right here. Reason why it's cool is because you can remove 3 counters as a monster effect to search a Drone Lockbird. Also, Drone Lockbird is also not dead going first. Reason being is because, have you guys ever heard of the Durandal Drone Lockbird combo? Well, I'll explain that later when I get to my extra deck. But this card put in a lot of work. And yeah, I took it out for Veilers because I felt like Veilers were not as good in the format. Reason being is because decks like Altergeist, Thunder Dragon, Sky Strikers, they don't really lose that hard to Veiler. I feel like Drone Lockbird did more work. Next, I played Double Ghost Ogre. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm a little disappointed with this card. I know it was a regionals, but to be honest, it's not that effective against Sky Strikers, Thunder Dragons, or Altergeist. You can only hit very few cards for it to be effective. I'm thinking about taking it out. List in the comments below what do you guys think. I was thinking about running more Pendulum monsters to make the deck faster. But yeah, or maybe side these. But yeah, that's it for the monsters. And then the spells are the same. The best spell card, or the best card in the deck actually, is Dinomist Charge. You literally search whatever you need, and then the fact that you can recur your monsters when they hit the extra deck, whenever you link summon or whatnot, or use your scale to pop, whatever. You can recycle it back, which is insane. This is why the deck is actually really good compared to other pendulum decks, because they don't have a spell card that does multiple things for them. And so this card is absolutely amazing. I feel like every time I open this card, like I feel like I have a great chance of winning. Next, I run the Triple Desires. You want to see as many cards as you want. The card says draw 2, and also builds counters for Magical Abductor. Also, I do tend to side out a third copy because there are times where you draw into another Desires with a Desire, and so that's kind of bad. But yeah. And next, I run, finally, for the last spell, Upstart Goblin. Also, another good card to side out. So that's it for the spells and traps. Probably the MVP was Dinomist Howling. This card is absolutely amazing. Like I said earlier in the video, if they target it face down, you can flip it face up, set your scales, and use your scale 3 to protect. And then, obviously, during either player's turn, you can tribute a Dinomist card to bounce something. And another ruling question that people have been asking real quick is that if they flip your Dinomist monster face down, whether if it's like Book of Eclipse or Book of Moon or Fairy Tale Snow, you can still tribute it face down because it's the same ruling as Icarus Attack. I've asked the judge that, and yeah, so that's it from the main deck. Now for the extra deck. Actually, let's get off with the side deck real quick. Side deck, we run triple spell cancers. I expected to see more Sky Strikers, but I didn't. So I didn't even side this card in. But it's really good because you can pendulum summon it and search it off of Clee Genius. A new card that I decided to side in is Pankratops. I took out MSTs initially, and then I put these in because they can act as an MST, or it's like a big body. It's really good. Next, I run the double Gamma Seal to get rid of problematic monsters, and it's really good against the Sky Striker matchup and the Thunder Dragon matchup. Next, I run double Dimensional Barrier. Now, this is weird. I wanted to find a card that didn't cost life, so like Strikes or the Solemn Package or whatnot. And also, because I kind of struggle against matchups like Cyber Dragons, like Invoked, and and other stuff, especially Rogue. So that's why I like Dimensional Barrier. Next, I run triple Heavy Storm Duster. This card is absolutely amazing, especially going first and putting a lot of work. And lastly, we play the triple Gozen match. People side this against me, and it does kind of hurt, but you can play around it because most of your monsters are water. And so, yeah, I mean, the fact that it can hurt your opponent more than it hurts you, you want to play those type of cards, you know? You don't want your opponent to play, especially against Altergeist. I played this against them, and they cried. So, yeah. For the links, we run the same 3. This is the best card in your extra deck. This is good with the Gozen match and the power boost to get over big stuff, and this can negate something such as Anti-Spell Fragrance, or you can search cards like Spell Cancers and whatnot. Next, you still run the double package, the double Nova, double Infinity. There's plenty of times when I went to 2 of these in one duel, because it's just that good of a card. And next, we run the Artifact Durandal. This is so easy to make because you can make rank 5 so easily. So if you open a Droll, and a way to like go into your rank 5s, my new play is to go to rank 5 into him and have a Droll in hand, and then as soon as your opponent adds a card or draws a card using a card effect, you use this as a Chain Link 1, Droll as a Chain Link 2. Both players shuffle their entire hands to the deck and no one draws cards. I've done it a lot of times and it works. It's really awesome when it happens because then your opponent literally cannot play, like literally. So that's pretty cool. Next, we run the Toad package. And then I run, obviously, the Dweller. It's not as effective as it was before, but it still puts in work against a lot of decks. Then Cowboy. I beat a lot of people with Cowboy today, or at the regionals. So that was pretty nice. And then the Tornado Dragon for problematic back row. Ragnar Zero is really good against the Cyber Dragon matchup. So that's why I played that. And finally, I play 101. Originally, I had like the Utopia package, but I took it out for Durandal and this. The reason why I play this is because it's generic, so it's easy to make. You can play it under Gozen match, and it's really good against the Thunder Dragon matchup. So yeah, anyways, YouTube, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please post it down. I always Want to hear you guys' opinions, and I try my best to respond to everything. And hit that like and subscribe button. Have a nice day.